Welcome back to the Maryland Podcast. I'm your host, Dillon Shivery, coming to you live from the Lodge in Austin, Texas. That just rides so hard. Joining me is my co-host, Sally DeFries. What's up, Sal? Back from Michigan.
Great to be back.
Back from vacay.
To be honest, I mean, it's good to be back here. It's not great to be back in this weather, but
This is the hottest time of the year down here. It's 101 currently.
And it doesn't even, it feels so much more oppressive than that somehow. Like
it's the humidity.
Really being smashed, like when you walk outside.
Yeah, it's not fun. Took Stella on a walk before coming here, and we cut it short because it was just too much.
That I will say is the one upside, which makes me sad for dogs. But like, Rosie gets so tired so fast because it's so hot. She just is like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm good. Yeah.
But in Michigan, she had so much energy. I was like, you got to chill out. But yeah.
I didn't even realize y'all brought her to Michigan.
Really?
You didn't see the plane pics?
Yeah, I did. I don't.
She also had quite a
hell?
time swimming in Lake Michigan. She loves it. She won't swim in pools though. I think it's because like she's done it in a lake and she's done it and also Lake Michigan. I think she would also do it like in an ocean, but I think she doesn't like the drop off of the pool. Like she likes like walking and losing her footing, and then
That's scary. You have to jump in the pool unless
she won't. I don't think we'll ever get her to a jumping point.
Yeah.
Has Randy ever swam?
A couple times.
Does he like it?
Hard to say.
Yeah.
He is easily influenced, so if it's just him, he's not getting in. But if there's like other dogs, he'll follow.
I think that's the key, is like watching another dog do it. They're like, oh, that looks tight. I'm gonna do that. That's what you got to do with Stella. Do not just drop her in a pool like I did.
I took her to my buddy's lake house, Lake Travis. And it's a gradual. You can walk in, and it's shallow for a long time. She got in a little bit, but didn't do much. I brought her out there so she could swim back just to see how she would
How'd she do?
Yeah.
One day at the dog park, there's like a dog park / beach, and there was this little puppy named Lucy. She was a yellow lab puppy, probably Stella's age. And her owner was like, yeah, we've got another yellow lab. She's getting old, so I don't bring her anymore. But she only swims if she can hang on to the back of her like lab sibling. And so she was doing it to Rosie. She was just going out there and pawing onto Rosie's back and trying to like ride Rosie around. It was hilarious. But I was like, Rosie can't swim that well. She's definitely going to drown, but it was fine.
Dogs,
she lived.
Man.
It's crazy, man.
I thought about bringing Stella up here. Dave did it with Randy. He's a little bit more mature and calm, of course, but she's good after the initial. I got to check everything out and get really hyper first. So eventually, I'm going to try it. I
still maintain. I mean, I'm sure people know this. There's like a big room next to the recording studio that currently is housing some couches and stuff. But when y'all had nothing in there, I was like, turn it into a freaking dog park. Just let the dogs play. Although I guess with sound and stuff, that really wouldn't make sense if they're like barking and stuff.
Yeah.
Randy's not a bark boy.
Rosie doesn't bark unless
I've never heard Rosie bark.
Somebody.
Have
you've come to our house?
Oh yeah.
Like she freaks out when people come to the door.
She squirts a little pee pee.
She pees herself. She barks like a mad woman. But then like, also like one time in Fort Worth, someone just entered my house and she just like licked him instead of like barking at him.
I remember that. That was so creepy.
I don't even have like a guard dog. This is stupid. Okay, sorry, dog tangent.
No, it's all right.
Those are the best.
So Stella and Randy had a little play date. When we played golf.
Oh yeah, I saw the pictures.
And it started off pretty rocky, but she calmed down. But she got real excited. Like went and just attacked his food. Randy's food his breakfast was sitting there. She went after it. And a little turd popped out while she was eating his food inside.
Oh my God! Really?
Gets better.
Oh, there's more to the story.
She picked it up, but she picked up the little dollop, like a little
she
donut.
Freaked out and tried to eat it.
So like a little donut hole of poop, and she put it in her mouth. I was like, Stella, we don't do that.
I mean, it was like the worst case scenario for 45 seconds.
After that, it was fine.
Yeah, Melissa said they were great all day. Like
Rosie does eat other dogs' food. Like she will eat anything.
That's pretty normal. Randy,
but she just got so excited she shit herself.
She shit just a little.
You know what?
Dollop,
better that than pee.
Put it in her mouth, and then I got it out fast, thankfully. She didn't actually eat it.
Rosie ate a turd like 3 weeks ago.
Dogs eat poop.
At the dog park with Micah and Kaylin.
Dogs are gross.
Will was very upset with me because I wasn't paying attention. She just ate somebody's a dog's turd.
Luckily, Randy has never that I've never seen him do that. Now he does, like, if a dog's peeing, he'll
He
like
just
go
goes
get
and
right in their business.
Sticks his
And he's
head.
had urine on his head before. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You don't just get golden showered here at the dog park, bro. I got to go home and clean you off. Just hose his face down.
Dogs.
Pee,
They're gross. We love them, but they're gross.
Pee's so much worse than poop, because at least solid poop, it's like,
You could just pick it up.
yeah. Like pee, it's just like, oh, that odor is impossible to get rid of, and that's
Good stuff.
great start.
Yeah.
Solid.
Well, Sally, we're happy you're back.
Thank
we missed
you.
you very much.
I appreciate it.
Before we get into it, we have a hotline number. It is 888-362-MAIL. That's MAIL. 888-362-6245. You can also write in if you would prefer. There's a link in the Twitter bio at Mail and Podcast. We have, I believe, 7 questions today, one of which is a voicemail. You guys ready to jump right in?
Let's do it.
Dave, you ready to do some reading?
Here we go. Hey, Mail and Crew. Over the past few years, my dad has become very into bizarre conspiracy theories. I'm talking anti-vaxxer, chemtrails, you name it. Usually whenever he brings it up, I try and laugh it off or ignore it to avoid conflict. However, today he texted me a 2.5-hour video about conspiracy theories and is adamant that I watch it in full and give him my opinion. Starting to wonder if this is a sign that he's maybe losing it. He wasn't always like this. Growing up, he was pretty sane and down to earth. What do you guys suggest I do here? Should I be concerned? Do I try and argue against them? Do I just continue to let it go? Any advice would be appreciated. Thanks.
Look, some conspiracies are true, of course. Like, we don't know which ones, but like there are a few out there, a handful. But
Like which ones?
If you were
It's more
like,
than a handful.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Okay.
Like some of them are I'm assuming.
Are
some
you
are
just
true.
so you're not
go
trying
down the list?
But
Because we can do an
But-
hour-long podcast.
I just thought you were
if
gonna
you
cut
are
out.
a conspiracy person, if you are into a wide array and a variety of different conspiracies, to me that's a sign that you are kind of losing it a little bit. Like you've lost touch with the world.
I think this is a great question because I'm sure many of the listeners are probably dealing with their parents.
It's a hot question right now.
Stuff like
it's probably
this,
very
like
relatable.
you know, mask not working, all of the like Fox News echo chamber, or
Media conspiracy about
media conspiracy, or even if you're on the left
fake-
side,
yeah.
like I think our parents' generation, like maybe it's because they're at home more, like during the quarantine, they're not like seeing their friends. They're just
Yeah.
an echo chamber of whatever news they're watching. I feel like my friends are talking about this all the time. Like my parents have lost it. And it could be towards anything, you know, like politics and COVID is obviously a hot button topic, but I think clearly this guy,
Yeah.
like,
I think our parents' generation is the last of the staunchly conservative
right.
generation.
But it's also not just conservatives who are crazy conspiracy theorists. I think
No, for
when you
sure
s-
not.
Yeah,
For sure not. But those are like that's the popular one right now.
right,
Like our parents are just Trump supporting,
right.
non-mask wearing. I'm not saying my parents are. I'm saying like generally speaking, like that's the generation.
The most
that's-
hardcore people
Yeah.
tend to be that generation. I think there's a couple things. One, maybe your dad was always like this and he didn't start sharing it with you till you were old enough for him to feel like he could have a conversation about it. Because maybe he just like didn't want to sit 8-year-old you down and like talk about how the world is flat, you know?
Mhm.
Like, but also I go back and forth with this a lot. And mine, it's not that my parents are into conspiracy theories, but we definitely have different opinions, especially given the current climate. And there'll be times where I'm like, I gotta say something because it's just like I don't agree with this at all. And then there's times where I'm like, yeah, I just spent the whole last 24 hours trying to like talk them into believing, or not talk them into believing what I believe, but like maybe disputing what they're saying.
Yeah.
Where I don't have the energy.
I don't fight it. I just try to steer the conversation away from what they want it to go to.
Right.
You know,
Um.
I can't. I'm not going to change any minds, and I'll just get irritated, and I don't want to get into that kind of stuff.
For this guy, like if he has siblings or like his mom is around, like maybe one of them is noticing. And if you really do feel like, is he like losing it? Like, is there something psychotically happening? Like if he's actually worried about dementia or something like that, like if someone else can validate that, you know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know, becoming a conspiracy theorist is like, I don't really think that that's a whole like psychological
Yeah.
issue. I think it might just be like too much time on your hands.
If it becomes a personality trait, it's a problem. Like if you
Right.
are into one particular conspiracy theory
Right.
about something that you just like, you totally believe it. Okay, whatever. If it's a trait of yours, if you're like, oh, like keep your, don't trust the government, like keep your eye on this and all.
But definitely don't trust the government.
to
I
me-
just want to be clear.
To me, that's when you've like lost touch.
So, okay, two things. One, I kind of want to know what the conspiracies are on this 2.5 hour video.
Yeah, I
Like-
do too.
I think
what are
I've
we
actually-
talking about?
I think I've actually seen the video because I have a guy from college who posted it. He has gone kind of off the deep end a little bit, and me and I don't want to give it away. Me and another guy who people were. Me and Ross. Ross isn't the guy. But
I know who
Ross
you're
and I
talking
were
about. I'm not gonna
texting.
say, yeah.
We were texting about it. We're like, dude, what the fuck? And we were just like, let's just watch it. So we watched it just because I'm like, I want to see what the shit he's
The
getting
whole
into.
thing?
I think it's this. No, I couldn't watch the whole thing. It was just a lot of it was. It was a lot of leaps in logic. It was a lot of like Pizzagate,
Oh,
sex
God.
trafficking,
Yeah.
Epstein, and like a lot of that stuff gets lumped in with a lot of conspiracies that I think are very far-fetched and very unlikely, and it kind of like diminishes like the credibility of someone who's like, no, if you actually look at the Epstein thing, like there was a global pedophile ring,
Right.
and like and it gets lumped in with these other ones that are just so absurd, and I think that's the goal of some of this stuff is to make it look so ridiculous, like lump it all together. This is a combination of an older generation. I mean, I'm assuming, this is your dad. He probably isn't as like internet savvy as we are, as this kid is, and a lot of free time plus internet plus curiosity and boredom. Like
Yeah.
These are the people who end up on message boards for hours.
Exactly.
On end.
Conspiracies are fun. Like you feel like you know something that no one else
Right.
knows. Like you kind of like, whoa. Like I just got to see behind the curtain. I know what's
Right.
really
Yeah,
going on.
it's fun to imagine like what if this were true.
Yeah, and
That would
a
be
lot of people
mind-blowing.
want it to be true because it's like, well, it's a great. That's why this is the way it is,
Right.
and that's why I can't get ahead. Not saying that's this guy, but it's
very easy to get sucked into.
especially with the internet. I mean,
Mhm.
YouTube and the Facebooks. It's just it's
well, and exactly
it's tough, man.
what you said. This guy being his dad being an older generation, like we are exposed to so much information all the time because the internet has basically existed our entire lives except for like our childhood probably, and except for Dillon's and.
Wow, Sal Gown.
Okay.
But like, think about all the time that we spent on like, Instant Messenger or like Facebook, like all that in our younger years. That like now we're kind of like, okay, like I don't need to do that all the time. Whereas like parents are just getting into it, so that's why like a ton of parents are on Facebook, checking in everywhere. You're like, you don't check in places like, or spending like. Won't lie to you, my dad used to. He golfs too much to like be on the internet this much anymore, but like used to love reading Texas football message boards. Like just spend so much time.
Yeah,
It's so
same.
easy to get sucked into.
College football conspiracies are real.
And if and if you're
Nick Saban's looking
retired,
for a house.
like, or you have more time on your hands, especially in COVID, of course you're just like deep diving into shit.
But like reading into it and actually being, one of the people who champion certain
Right. Well, that's different. And I
storylines or beliefs.
I think I agree with you. Like the issue is when you cross from looking it up, being bored, to like you're sitting by yourself on your computer, like just with your own thoughts, unable to recognize like, okay, this isn't reality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my first real taste of conspiracy theorists, I think, were after 9/11 when there were a lot of,
Yeah.
What
What is your
it was Bush people.
what conspiracy theory either interests you the most or is your favorite? I'll give two.
Okay.
One is the whole like Denver airport situation.
Yeah,
Like it being a bunker for like rich people and
it's going
like
to take one person with like a logical explanation about what's going on there to get me to put that one to rest. But until then, I'm so intrigued by what's going on now.
yeah, because the Denver airport's insane. Like it makes sense
Like,
why
why is it where it is? Like why couldn't it be in that?
and why is it
40
shaped
mile
like that? And why is there a Bronco outside that's massive with red eyes?
why
Like
isn't there, yeah, it could be so much closer to town.
it's very confusing. My other one that I think is probably the most hilarious one is Will and I found this guy who claims that John Benet Ramsey is now Katy Perry, and he made like a 30-minute
Yeah.
YouTube video, and then like face morphed their faces onto each other, like showing
That's
how she
funny.
grew up in Katy Perry. And you're like, dude,
What's
what?
the point of that?
And there's the Avril Lavigne one too.
The Avril Lavigne one.
That's a fun one. I used to sort of buy into the Michael Jordan conspiracy theory that they actually shot down during that documentary, but that he was, instead of giving up baseball voluntarily, he was pushed out of the game for a year. I don't know.
like, see that? I guess that's technically a conspiracy theory, but like, this dude's talking about like crazy,
Right.
probably Pizzagate,
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's just
Pizzagate
wild.
that's on his greatest hits list. I can tell you that.
Pizzagate, I didn't even know what it was.
Wait,
until...
I don't know what Pizzagate is.
So Pizzagate, I knew what this was because Chrissy Teigen's been tweeting about it a lot about it because she somehow got involved. But it basically has to do with like a child sex trafficking ring that somehow was related to a pizza restaurant
Well, it was So
in DC. Maybe
I don't know much about it, but yes, it was DC, and like, so when the DNC emails got hacked, like John Podesta, was it Podesta? Panetta, I don't know, Podesta, I think.
Yeah.
A bunch of those people got hacked, and there was some emails, I don't know how valid they are, that had this thing like, oh, I can't. They would say something like, oh, I can't. I'm getting a pizza for an hour, and like they would reference pizza, and people on the internet were like, oh, well that's code. These people were involved in sex trafficking, whatever, and it became a whole Pizzagate thing. They identified this one restaurant in, I think, DC.
But then there was a chain, and like somebody went into the one in North Carolina and like shot it up.
Nobody died, but yeah. So like,
Jeez.
it is a real weird deal.
I think it's like I tried to actually research this like 2 weeks ago because I was really confused. But they were like, any actual, but like there's like basements involved. It's just a whole. I wouldn't even go down that road because it is like some crazy shit.
You can another thing, like I was thinking about. I'll give you my favorite conspiracies quick here in a minute.
This is my bonus question, by the way.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I'm trying not to hijack it.
No, it's fine. It's good. It's a good combo.
Think about like us when we like scroll a web page and like we finish reading a column or an article, and there's those fake articles that are just clickbait, and it says like or it says like woman with 5 breasts found in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And like we know like, oh, that's not a reputable source. Don't click on that. That's going to lead me to like a fucking virus or some shit.
Right.
Our parents, a lot of our parents, they don't know that. So they don't know what's a reputable source. They see something and they don't know that like if it's not .com or .org or .edu or something, like it's probably not worth clicking on.
Or if it's the name is misspelled or whatever,
They don't know how to validate sources. Some.
They're still trying to figure out the internet.
Exactly. And it's not their fault. I mean, like, look, I'm about to be that guy. I'm already getting, technology's already passing me by. I couldn't even get a Twitch stream set up at my house.
What message board are you most active on the internet, Dave? Are you just all
message
over?
Board?
Yeah, are you just in discussion boards?
I'm honestly not. I can't do that.
I feel like 2 years from now, Dave's going to be all in on discussion boards, just redditing up his ass. Like just.
I used to be hot on the Orange Bloods.
That's what
Rivals.
my dad was real intense on.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, we talked football.
Yeah.
Talk shit and stuff like that. Recruiting.
Yeah.
It was lame.
Love some good
I'm not proud
chats.
of it, but yeah, I did it.
All right, two conspiracies that I've kind of gotten into, and like they're all rooted in fact, so they're not really conspiracies. First one is CIA experimenting on people with LSD for mind control purposes over like the last 50 years. That's fact. It's been declassified, Freedom of Information Act. Unwilling participants, by the way, like doping small populations. And then obviously the Epstein stuff is a hot one, right?
Right.
Just because it's happening before our eyes, and they're being very it's like, do you really think he killed himself? Or and like his connections to the most powerful people in this country and around the world, and it's like, dude, it's not a coincidence,
right?
Like,
yeah.
And his, I'm not. We could talk for hours about it, but yeah, those are two that are pretty interesting. JFK stuff's always interested me, just because it happened in Dallas. I'm from Dallas, and it's really wild. And like how the mafia was involved with the CIA, and how Cuba was involved and trying to overthrow Castro and running guns. There's a lot of shit.
Maybe you should do like a spooky season spinoff of just conspiracies.
See, look,
That would be fun, but people would think I'm like this guy's dad. Like when you
Yeah, you're right.
Look,
'cause
they're fun to talk about. I mean, I'm having fun listening to this stuff. So I think our parents, not our parents, but
it's easy to get
parents,
involved.
it's easy to get sucked in.
Yeah.
people
know?
don't want. There's a lot of people who like they just will brush it off, even though you're like, no, look, this is how we know this really happened, and they're like, yeah, okay, because like that's a lot. You don't want that's a heavy thing finding out like that this entity that's supposed to be like protecting you and your rights and everything
Right.
actually does some really fucked up shit.
Yeah.
You don't want to know that. You want to just go about your life, and you got enough to worry about. You can't worry about like what the CIA is doing or the FBI. Like, I don't know. That's all I'll say.
Wow. To that guy,
Stay strong.
stay strong. I would say try not to get involved. Like try to
Yeah.
just be silent. But if you actually are concerned about his mental health, like try to get some validation and just maybe like see if a sibling or somebody else thinks the same thing.
Show him the contrary evidence. Be like, no, you should read this, and kind of indulge him. Don't like make him feel like you're don't be condescending.
Don't be judgy.
Just be like, no, Dad. Like, here's the thing. Like, that's actually not true, and don't be.
Like, here's another logical explanation for what's going on.
The more aggressive you are in pushing back, the more it's gonna be like he's gonna get into it.
Right.
It's
The
one
more
of those-
2-hour videos he's gonna send.
Don't waste your time with that shit. Guys, you want to know what I had before I came here?
What'd you have?
Did you have liquid IV?
Well, first of all, I had a pretty amazing pool session, doing some laps, breaststroke. And afterward, I needed something to recover, and I went with the liquid IV, as I often do.
You chased it with some liquid IV, didn't you?
I did. That's how I get rehydrated. You probably all know Liquid IV for their popular hydration drink mix. Well, they just launched their newest line, the Energy Multiplier. We got a bunch of it out there. With roughly 100 milligrams of clean caffeine, it's the perfect coffee replacement and an all-natural alternative to processed energy drinks for a sustained energy boost throughout the day. I like it because I can't do a bunch of coffee. I'll do one in the morning, but in the afternoon, I need something else. So I'll go with the Liquid IV.
Yeah. And the Energy Multiplier, I don't know if you tried that yet, but it works.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's multiplied my energy. How about that?
I'm full of energy.
Sally,
try it.
y'all brought some to Michigan.
I do. I have not actually tried the energy multiplier yet because I'm a lemon lime girl through and through.
Ooh.
I also like their new
Love it.
sea berry flavor, but I just haven't tried it because we just got it. So like maybe tomorrow
Tomorrow's the day.
because I got to be up early. I'm gonna get some energy multiplied.
I expect a full report.
Okay.
Half of Americans report that they struggle with daily fatigue. I used to be like that. Some signs include decreased focus, lack of motivation, poor mood, unhappiness. Man, you don't want any of that. With Liquid IV Energy Multiplier, you can upgrade your vibe, something we can all do, and reach your constant state of awesome. Dylan, maybe you should look into this.
I need to be more
You've been
awesome.
less awesome than you have been in the past.
People have been saying that.
Yeah. Liquid IV is great. I recommend it to everybody. Even like my friends who don't even listen to the podcast, they were like all in on Liquid IV before I told them about it because it works. You got the premium matcha. You got the green energy blend. It tastes delicious, provides a lasting energy boost throughout the day. It's like 1 to 2 cups of coffee without the crash. Mixture of matcha, guayasa, and ginger. I think I said that right. That's high in antioxidants, helps improve mood and focus. All that stuff, no artificial flavors, no preservatives. It's the best cellular transport technology. I'm all in on that. Clean ingredients, non-GMO. You know the deal. Go to liquidiv.com and use code MAILIN at checkout. That's going to get you 25% off. That's a huge deal. Also, they got this stuff at Costco. I was at Costco today.
Love it.
25% off when you go to liquidiv.com. Use code MAILIN at checkout. Check it out. Start fueling your adventures today at liquidiv.com. Promo code MAILIN.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Parks is letting me know that he's hungry.
Me too, man.
Like, can you not wait 30 more
Get
minutes?
that kid a protein shake.
Unbelievable.
you
Let's look at
want
the
me to
next
do it?
one.
Yeah. Hey, gang. My girlfriend is constantly getting down on herself, saying she is fat and ugly and things of this nature. I can't read things of this nature without thinking of Stephen A. Smith, by the way. I just want to put that out there. She has bouts of incredibly low self-esteem, and I try to constantly lift her spirits and remind her that she's perfect and loved how she is. But she still continues to self-loathe and hate herself. She says she wants to make a change and lose weight and feel better about her self-image, but then never does anything. And when I have offered suggestions, it's met with tears and anger from her. It's been getting more and more frequent since quarantine has started, and I think it's getting increasingly close to being a deal breaker for me. What should I do? Thanks.
This is a tough one.
This is a tough one. I've been thinking about this for like a day and a half now, and I don't have a fantastic answer.
So we've answered questions like this in the past, and quarantine only like exacerbates all this. So
Yeah.
most people, I would say, don't have have self-esteem, but not like phenomenal confidence. I look great
Yeah.
all the time. That's hard to like maintain. And kudos to you if you do.
And I understand the anger part from her, because if I'm like feeling down about myself and someone's like, oh no, you're whatever, I don't want to hear that. Like
Right.
it's for whatever reason, it's just not helpful. So I get it.
Right. Always, I say this every time we answer a question like this. It's hard for you to take like you're saying these bad things and you need someone to build you up, and most of us are trained to think like I'm going to say I feel fat, and then y'all are going to be like, no, you look so skinny. Like we're just very used to having that kind of talk at us. But if you can't trust your significant other, your mom, your sister, whatever, to tell you like maybe you put on a couple pounds, or like maybe eat better or exercise, then who can you trust, right? And so for her, like she doesn't feel great about herself. She's really low on herself, and she's going to her boyfriend, and he's like, okay, like let's work out, whatever. And she's just, it's like a further like, you're fat,
Yeah.
But that's her problem.
Right.
I get what he's trying to do here. Honestly, I've said this a million times. I'll say it again. This is like a mental health thing. Like
Sure.
quarantine has already made this way worse. People's mental health is in the trash. We're not getting outside as much. And if you already struggle with self-esteem issues, and now you've put on weight, or you're not exercising, or you're eating like shit because you're in quarantine, that's only going to make that worse, and maybe spiral into depression, anxiety, all of those things. What I would suggest doing for this guy, because I've needed help before, is to be like, I really think that you should talk to a healthcare professional, whether it is a doctor about your weight or whatever, or it's a psychologist or a psychiatrist, because your mental health is so much part of your overall well-being, but it completely impacts your physical health, right? So I always like lean on the go for the science answer, because it sounds like he's done everything that we would normally say, like, why don't you work out together, or like cook healthy meals together, go for hikes instead of going on to bars or whatever. But like, he sounds like he's kind of done all that. And I think that maybe do that, and maybe even say to her, like, it's really hard for me. I'm trying to do everything I can to support you, but it's hard for me to watch you be like this. Like, let her know that it's becoming a problem for you, and obviously don't blame her, but like, you got to make it known to her that like you're trying your best to support her, and like how can you best support her? Ask her that,
Right.
But it sounds like she needs additional help besides just like, I don't know. And it's not even about whether or not she needs to like go diet and exercise. It's about she needs to learn how to self-love. And that's really hard to teach someone. Usually you need a different party who's not, related to you, dating you, etc., to help you find ways to put yourself in a different light.
Yeah.
Well said.
I don't think I need to add anything to that. I mean, I think talking to a professional is a great step to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah.
How it turns out.
Hope for the best. It's a tough situation. You want to do a voicemail, Dave?
I would love to do a voicemail, Dillon.
What's up, Mail and Crew? It's Trev Cat. I've been talking to this girl long distance for a while, and she's finally going to be in my area. But with COVID and everything, I don't know if it's smart to see her. So that's my main question. Other than that, if I do see her, how do I handle it? Do I wear my mask? Do I hug her when I see her? I don't know how to handle it with COVID and all that. Love to hear your thoughts. Love the pod.
My man's doesn't know how to act.
Big ups to Trev Cat.
We
Love
get
it.
it.
That dude just stays giving us content, man. He asks questions all the time. Appreciate it. Okay. Is it safe to go on like first dates with people right now?
Like, yes and no. So I think this situation is happening a lot. I think people are meeting online.
I know people are dating. Like people are stepping out.
Well, right. But I think, especially with quarantine, people like met right before or during and now have like been in this weird situation where maybe they're not in the exact same city or they're like too afraid to go out. And so they're trying to figure out dating in that realm. I personally think there's a lot of factors this depends on. One, what city are you? Like, are you in a New York that's controlling it, or are you in Houston?
Right.
And it's rampant, right? Are you in anywhere in Florida or Texas? That number one, like, where are you at? Number two, what's your own personal preference, safety, etc. So you got to figure out what you're comfortable with. If you're already going out to restaurants, go out to a restaurant. Most likely, if you're sitting outside, like more than 3 feet away. I mean, I know that we're saying 6 feet, but I think the CDC actually says 3 feet. And you're outside a restaurant, you're probably okay meeting them for dinner.
Yeah.
It's weird to meet people and not hug them. Or like, what if you really like her and you want to kiss her? But that's also like, you both have to decide what your boundary is.
Is she, forgive me, is she she's not staying with him?
I don't think so. It didn't
Doesn't
sound like it.
Okay.
He said that she will be in his town.
She's just, okay, and so she's not going there to see him.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Well, we don't know that.
We don't
Doesn't
know.
sound
It sounds
like
like they're not staying together.
Because, like, if she's coming in town to see you and that's the only reason, like, I mean, damn, I don't want to sound reckless, but it's like, dude, you're.
I think I would ask questions. It'd be like, okay, so have you been in contact with anyone who's been
Right.
sick? Have you shown it? Have you had any symptoms?
questionnaire.
Have you been quarantining? stuff like, yeah, why not? I mean,
Yeah, no, you're right.
it's probably the best. I wouldn't let COVID prevent me from meeting someone.
No, if
Right.
if I had an opportunity, I would find a way to make it
You
work.
know
And
her. I
think-
mean, like, if she's been going out, like you follow her on the gram, she's been checking the
Right.
stories. She's been out with the gals.
yeah, she's stepping out.
Yeah, and you gotta be like, huh?
Well,
Is
it
she
sounds like she's
pro-mask?
traveling.
Yeah.
So she may be more comfortable with it, but it all is about your own personal comfort. I think everyone's making decisions like that now. Like, are you comfortable getting on a plane? Are you comfortable going to somebody's wedding? Are you comfortable going out to a restaurant? You have to decide for yourself how that's going to affect your life. For this guy, like, if you're really worried about it, then try to like quarantine before, see her, and then both of you don't see people afterwards. Like, that's probably,
Yeah.
saying you get COVID, they both get COVID somehow. At least if they like quarantine after, they're hopefully not giving it to other people, right?
Right.
Like, and the likelihood of him getting it really bad is low. But again, you have to assess your own personal risk. Like, I think when I read this question, I was like dying laughing because I don't know if y'all saw this. I think it was on Instagram or Twitter about some university put out like a COVID sexual health like poster or something. It might have been University of Georgia. Somebody can correct me, but it was like,
oh,
have a discussion about your safety at the same way you would consent. Like if you hug, like have a layer in between and each of your faces go
Yeah.
different ways. If you have sex, consider wearing a mask or do positions that don't face each other. Like
Mask
that's
on
what
sex.
literally
people
it's
having
like
mask on sex.
mask on sex, or they're basically saying do doggy style or reverse cowgirl. So
yeah, no, like I think
Really?
I think the state of New York issued some kind of
it's actually
guidelines from their
really freaking funny because can you imagine hooking up with somebody and they're like, hold on, I'm gonna put my mask on real fast. You're like, what? I think this also said that they were like, consider not having your faces close together. So they're like saying like, do oral sex or something else so that you're not
Wow.
They're
like,
basically saying do a glory hole.
that's honestly,
Like, yeah, only make contact with the business
but
part.
then they were like, we don't know for sure if people's bodily fluids have it in them, like if like semen or something has COVID in it. Like
Oh my
it was
gosh.
one of the most insane things I've seen, but I guess like what else as a university, like public health system, are you going to tell people? Like
Sure.
have sex and probably get COVID from each other? Like it's a wild time.
And I also think it's okay to ask her, like, what level of like hello and goodbye contact are you comfortable
Right.
with? Like, are we knuckling? Are we doing air hugs? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, ask before.
Yeah, there's
It'll
nothing
be
wrong with a
fun.
little communication.
Maybe
here.
do you know what, Trev Cat, do some patio beverages.
Yeah. Outside.
Yeah.
Here's how I feel about COVID. And I feel like we talk about this every podcast, but my viewpoints are constantly evolving, very fluid. And now I've reached a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to assess my own personal comfort daily.
Mhm.
I still don't think I'm gonna be going to a wedding anytime soon, and I don't think that I'll
Yeah,
like be in a
smart.
packed place. But also, like, I'm trying my best to be as safe as I can, and that's all I can do. So that's
Avoid-
what this guy
yeah,
can do.
I mean, avoid crowds, wear a mask.
But
You're gonna be fine most likely.
yeah, I mean, I think if he asks her like, "I'd like to meet you. What are you comfortable with?" Even if they go to a park and sit 6 feet apart.
They're meeting. Let's establish that they're gonna meet.
But I think if there's gonna be physical contact that's more than a hug, you know, maybe
Some smoochy.
you try to do some Q-teening after, just to keep everyone safe. You know,
We calling it Q-teening now?
Q-teening.
If they're feeling it, they're gonna go in for the makeout sesh
Or a glory hole.
or a glory hole situation.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Go to the Home Depot.
Get a
some
piece of
plywood.
fiberglass.
Yeah. Get some
Cut a hole.
Yeah.
Plywood.
Go. Yeah.
Get a drill.
Do some curbside pickup. Get the drill, and then drill.
I guess though, for that to be like 100% safe, like he'd have to have a condom on, probably, right? Like to really be.
Well, you know, the mask is just a condom for your mouth.
I guess you could. Okay,
condom's
this is
just
getting
a good policy, regardless of
Yeah,
pandemics.
I mean, if you're having sexual relationships with a
See?
stranger, absolutely.
Sure.
We're
All
here
right.
to answer your questions
That's what I'm
Trev Cat.
talking about.
about
Trev
public
Trev
health.
I'm sure we'll see him at happy hour tonight.
Maybe just instead of actually doing physical contact, just cyber.
They might be
Sure.
already.
Cyber.
Just,
yeah.
do some in-person.
I heard you can
cybering.
get some viruses from that too.
That can be fun, from what I hear. Oh, computer
Come
virus.
on, man.
That was like such a
Savage guy
1992 joke.
I don't
Okay.
even want to read this.
Cyber
I
sex.
can't read this next one. This is.
I'll do it.
No, I'm going to read it, but I just want everybody to know that I'm disgusted.
Yeah, it's not a good question.
This is a softball, but it will settle a long debate between my fiance and I. You may save a marriage.
Oh.
How far in
A
advance
lot of pressure.
can you make breakfast tacos? I say a couple of days, wrap in foil and refrigerate, then pop them in the oven when you want them. My fiance scoffs and says a couple hours at best. Bro.
You don't save eggs, right?
No.
If it
I
has
cannot
eggs
think
in it-
of
Ever.
anything less savable.
Yeah. We
Like- No, we're not saving eggs.
no, you don't save eggs. Eggs have to be fresh
So
always.
our friend,
They're just gross if you let them sit.
our friend who works at the Chive now, Joe Nollet, he once told me he and his wife, they make breakfast tacos at the beginning of the week and then freeze them,
I hate this move.
which freezing them is better than just to refrigerate them, but it's still not the move. Breakfast tacos, 2 hours seems too long for me. I feel like you've
Yeah.
got like 45 minutes
Yeah.
to knock
There
those
were
out.
a
man.
couple times at Grand X we did our Friday catered lunch, and we would do. Actually, I chose it one time, so it sounded fantastic. I chose breakfast for lunch,
yeah.
and even just traveling from the restaurant to our office, which couldn't have been more than half an hour, the eggs got there. Like, oh, we probably shouldn't have done this because
Yeah.
the eggs just don't travel well.
You know when you had like a taco cabana breakfast taco, someone brought them into work and it's like an hour old and you're just like sick.
I've been that
yeah.
guy. I've been that guy.
Yeah, and you just eat
Not
it
happy about it.
because you're just starving. You're like, I don't care.
It's probably fake eggs anyway.
I mean, here's the thing. So people do the thing like freeze them or fridge them or whatever, and people like make breakfast sandwiches, but like that's personally why I never get an egg McMuffin. I get like a sausage biscuit only because eggs like that aren't like freshly made in front of my eyes freak me out. Like
Yeah.
a breakfast taco, obviously from a place I know they're making the eggs right there. You taste them, they're great, but
Yeah.
like
Those McDonald's ones look like just like a perfect
a
puck
square.
of egg. Yeah.
Ugh.
Those creep me out.
Yeah.
So I've got at Costco. They've been getting a lot of play here on this pod. I bought these pre-made breakfast burritos that you keep frozen, and you wrap them in foil, and they take 45 minutes in the oven at 350. And they're actually pretty good. It's like turkey sausage, egg, and like some peppers. Not as good as a homemade one, but it's fine. And the egg is the worst part. And
Yeah.
it's not that it tastes bad; it's just the texture.
It's the texture.
and it kind of grosses me out.
Here's another thing I'll just add. Egg aside, tortillas in the fridge.
Yeah.
Not
Gross.
A tortilla that's been
You're losing a lot.
That's been holding food.
It
gets
just gets
gross
soggy and
It
disgusting.
absorbs the moisture from the food, and it just gets gross.
Your breakfast taco is only as good as your tortilla.
Yeah.
And you're not getting a quality tortilla
Correct.
if you're having to reheat it.
I can't believe this guy. I will say, I have a friend who made us breakfast tacos one morning. We were at her lake house, and what she did, she while people were like, she was waiting for people to get up. So she's like, I'm not going to make all of these like fresh to order. So while it was like probably 8:30 in the morning and I was helping her. So we made eggs. Then we made the breakfast tacos. We wrapped them in foil, but we actually put them in the warming drawer of the oven. So they were like, people are coming 30 minutes later to come get them.
Wrong with that. Yeah.
That I was like, brilliant, because I've made breakfast tacos for people one morning. Unless you're like seriously slaving over the stove making eggs and like making them fresh, which is always the best option. Like sometimes you want to give breakfast tacos to everyone. You want to make them, do that, but do not put them in the fridge and then heat them up later. Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going for gains and you don't really care about taste, then do what you got to do. But you're not going to get a quality product. You're not going to like the results. They may shock you.
I mean, did he think we were going to like back him up at all?
I'm the biggest breakfast taco hardo. Sorry, man.
Well, he asked, we live in Austin, which is like
I also wonder where they live. That
yeah.
This dude's putting off Midwest vibes.
If he's doing this in Austin, Texas, this is egregious. Like I do not agree.
This guy gives me I've never had an awesome breakfast taco vibe.
Go down to San Antonio one time.
San Antonio.
You gotta just
I would love to
like I know it's a pain in the ass to this guy, but you gotta get a different breakfast option for weekdays. You're probably at home. Just make them fresh every day.
Eggs are, dude. It's simple. You can do eggs
easy,
in like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, good eggs should take a little longer if you're scrambling them, but that's a whole other.
Let's calm it down. All right, let's go to the next one. Number 5.
This question is mainly for Dillon, but all can answer with their own takes. If podcasting is still a thing in 10 to 15 years, and the homie came to you and wanted to do a father-son potty, what would you say and what would it be about?
Well,
we're still getting pods off in 10 to 15.
You never know what the media landscape will look like, Dave. I mean, we'll adapt to whatever it throws at us, but
it could be.
I hope
VR.
we're still potting. Yeah, who knows? Look, if Wash Media is going strong in 10 to 15 years, I'll be very happy about that. I don't see why I wouldn't, but it's a long time from now,
Right.
You will actually be 50, so just keep that in mind.
Oh my God, you're not kidding.
I know.
I will be 50.
15 years from now.
Rogan's 53, and he's got the biggest podcast.
That's
in the
true.
world.
I was about to say that.
Look, part about one of the fun things about doing what we're doing, running a media business, even a small one like ours, it's just fun to think about what it could turn into, and like hiring people and getting people involved. If Parks comes to me in 10, 15 years and he's like, I would never push it on him. Like, hey, you should try media out, be a content guy. I would never do that. But if he was all about it and came to me, like, fuck yeah, I think it'd be awesome.
He is next door. Should we just go get him and ask him?
Should we get him on the mic? He's still trying to get my attention.
It'd be a dinosaur podcast.
Just let him come in and answer the question.
Will
it derail it? What if he came to you and was like, I want to start a Call Me Daddy type podcast about sex? So are you going to say yes to that?
I would say let's hold off on that one for a while before you're mature enough to dive into that type of
I mean, we
pod.
just talked about plexiglass glory holes for like 5 minutes.
We're still children.
My
I get it.
My man is pouting right
Yeah,
now.
he wants me to wrap this thing.
He dropped that lower lip down.
I would be very proud if he wanted to follow in my footsteps and get into the media. It'd be incredible. I would help him, of course, and if we're in a position to like hire him at some point down the line, and of course if Dave and Will were on board, it'd be fantastic.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe he can do something about dinosaurs.
We'll check his resume.
We'll start him in the mailroom.
See how qualified he is.
The mail-in room.
And you know what? If it doesn't work out, best of luck in all his future endeavors. Honestly,
is he stomping right now?
Yeah, he's just.
I cannot see him.
We can burn through these last two.
He's being a little
kicking
punk.
the wall.
Dude, he's kicking the wall.
I think he's kicking the couch, and then it's.
I'm sure that the people below us are absolutely loving him right now.
Are there people below you?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I even realized that there's like another floor.
There's another floor. I don't know if it's occupied, but there is another floor below us. Yeah.
It's 5 people probably aren't there.
Yeah, that's all I had to say about that. I'd be very proud. It'd be very fun. I'm not going to force him into it, but I would welcome it for sure.
He would be the Golic Junior to your Golic.
Sure.
Yeah. Wow.
Friend of the program. Two more. Hello. I've been dating someone for 9 months, and she stays over most weekends. and I can barely sleep with her in my bed. It's a queen size. How do you get used to sharing a bed? I really don't want to upgrade to a king size yet. Pull out that checkbook, player.
I think
You don't get used to
I
this.
think I included this because I relate so hard.
I do too.
I
Also,
need
don't get a
space.
dog.
I can cuddle for a little bit while the TV's on, but when it's time to like actually go to sleep, I need a foot or two at least of space between us, or else I just can't get comfortable.
Honestly, it took a really long time for me to get used to sleeping with Will in my queen bed when we had already been together for a while, because you just aren't used to somebody being that close to
Queen
you.
beds are not, in my opinion, not big enough for two adults.
And I think in the beginning of relationships, when you first start sleeping in bed together, it's hard to sleep anyway because you're just like thinking about like, what's the other person doing? Like, are they awake? Should I talk to them? Like, should I wake them up? Like, that always stressed me out, like just thinking about like what they were doing, or like, am I being too loud? Am I snoring? Am I moving too much? Like, I was always like a really anxious sleeper. Said it before, but I have a mattress plug, so if you want to hit me up, I'll tell you cheap king mattress to
Could
get.
have used that before I purchased my king mattress before I moved in. Thank you.
I literally talked about it on
Sheesh.
this podcast.
Did you?
Ah,
Yes, I have like
oh, yeah.
I have like 50 DMs of people asking me for the link. Probably like weekly I get one.
You're about to
Shaking
get
my
50.
head.
Dylan, like,
Shaking my
listen to
head.
me one time
I'm
on this
so-
podcast.
I'm
Yeah.
lucky that my wife, she's like me, and we're not like cuddlers. We don't like.
Y'all have a queen bed, right?
No.
No,
We
you have
used
a king.
to.
You had a queen for a while. Though.
Yeah, and honestly, it was never. I never felt crammed. But we have Randy now.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
You can't
And
let a dog on the
He
bed.
every
needs his
night-
own king.
Every night, Alyssa goes to bed before me. I'm up in Verdansk. You know what it is. And I go to bed, let Randy out. We go up, go upstairs, and I always have to brush my teeth, not usually. And he gets on the bed, same spot every time, head down at the bottom. But I brush my teeth. I always have to put my hands under his butt and like pick it up and move it more towards the middle.
Oh, yeah.
I get in. He stays there for maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just enough for me to fall asleep, go into a deep sleep. Then he gets off the bed, wakes me up, and then I have to go back to sleep. And this happens like clockwork every night.
Dave, that's not even that bad. Rosie
He's
starts
such
at
a
our
unit.
feet. Then half the time she gets off. Then every single morning at 4 a.m. she gets back on the bed, walks to the head of the bed. She'll put her head on one of our pillows, and she'll put her ass on the other person's pillow.
Oh,
So
man.
she's just like perpendicular to our bodies, fully laid out. So you either wake up and her tail is right there, or you wake up and she's breathing on you. So, and she will throw her whole weight on you.
Yeah, that's how Randy does it in the morning when he's ready to get up and go outside and eat breakfast. Like, he gets up on the bed and like he'll start out in the middle and he'll crawl over and like he'll put like a paw on your belly. Then he'll put both and have like all his body weight on you, and he's just like looking at you like a lot of times with this blanket in his mouth, and it's like draping over your face. You're like, dude, all right, I'll fucking get up, man.
How do you feel about couples who sleep in different beds? Which doesn't sound like a terrible thing to me.
I feel like this is more common with people who've like been married for a while, because they're just like
My buddy and his wife do it.
Yeah,
It's
they're
good.
like-
Different
they have been
roots.
forever.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I could ever do that, but I get why people do it. Like if you're already like having trouble sleeping,
Yeah.
like really, if you're not cuddling and stuff, like what's the point of the person being in the bed next to you? You know what I'm saying? And like Will and I don't cuddle at all, but like, or not what's the point, but like you're not
Yeah.
missing anything.
Plus, I get like movement guilt in the bed. If I need to resituate and roll over or whatever to get comfortable again, I try to be like super quiet and
Right.
slow moving.
You have a water bed.
I don't have a water bed. Oh, they kill my back. I haven't used one in 20 years.
No, I think a king bed will solve this issue, to be honest.
Yeah, just
But-
do it.
Also, the more time, even 9 months, like I feel like I'm so used to like Will's schedule, like he'll get up and go pee. Like I can tell when he's like restless and stuff like that. Like I just feel like we're in tune with each other.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it does suck. Like if you are literally committed to getting great sleep, maybe you just sleep in your own bed. But
Yeah.
or just try out a king first, because there's so much more space.
Look, sleep is very important. Do what you got to do to get comfortable and optimize that sleep. Because
I feel like if Will and I ever become parents, like that's when I'll start sleeping in a different bed, because it's like I'll be getting up so much.
yeah,
Like even when I get up to go to work, I wake Will up and it like pisses him off.
yeah.
I think that's when it really becomes a thing.
Yeah, because people are different schedules, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude needs a king size for sure.
DM
Oh, we
me.
got one more. Let's knock it out.
I feel stupid asking this, but here it goes. When people on social media say asking for a friend, are they inferring that they're asking for a friend, like they need a friend to help answer whatever they're asking? Or are they saying asking for a friend like asking on behalf of one of their friends? Feel free to roast me for this being a dumb question. We wouldn't do that here. We would never roast you.
This is a dumb question.
It's not a dumb question. What they're saying when asking for a friend, they're really asking for themselves.
Yeah, that's kind of
just making
right.
a joke.
That's the joke.
That's the joke. Is like I'm asking for a friend, but the friend is me.
Yeah, it's just a way of.
It's a played out
skirting
Twitter thing.
Can you imagine if you're like, hey, I need a vet recommendation, asking for a friend? That's a dumb thing, but like, you're asking for a vet recommendation, and you're also asking for someone to be your friend.
Yeah.
Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Like,
yeah, they're just asking for themselves. They're just trying to be funny while they do it.
I think
That's all it
sometimes,
is.
like, we get emails all the time at work, like, hey, who do you recommend for this? Asking for a friend that are actually
They're
asking
like
for a
legit
friend.
asking for a friend.
But like on social media, when people say that, they're asking for themselves. That's a joke. Being like, I'm not asking about this. You know?
Yeah.
I love the asking for a friend. I need a friend.
Yeah.
I'm going to start using
I need
that.
a friend.
I need a friend.
It's just funny to me that this person didn't know that yet.
That's okay.
I don't
Not
put it-
everybody's
and
as
here we
online
are.
as we are.
Here we are to inform.
He
them.
was today years old.
Yeah.
We're very online.
I kind of
Well,
hate when
guys,
people say that.
That wraps it up. I better wrap this thing before Parks comes in.
Parks
here and
wants
just-
some
He's
Chick-fil-A
about to whip
stat.
your ass.
He's gonna come and kick me in the shin if I don't end this thing. The hotline number 888-362-6245. You can also write in at the link in the Twitter bio at Mail-In Podcast. Did you guys have fun?
I had a great time.
It was a good one.
I had a fun one.
Good.
I am asking for a friend, though. So, or were you asking for a friend?
Yeah, asking for a friend. All right. We'll talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.